Fantastic. Hello. Welcome, everyone. There we go. Good to see everyone joining in. Amazing. Lots of faces. We love having video on if possible. It's so great to be able to see all your faces as well. We have an amazing team here for today's workshop. Hey, just as we get underway, as more people join us, can you pop in the chat where you are in the world right now and what you do creatively? All right. Where are you in the world right now and what do you do creatively? All right, pop it in the chat. Where are you? What do you do creatively? Those of you that don't know me already may be kind of confused about my accent. I'm originally from New Zealand, but I am based in the US. I'm based in Richmond, Virginia. So a bit of background there to start off with. You'll hear more about myself and the team we've got here today soon as well. But yeah, those of you joining us, pop in the chat where you are in the world and what you do creatively. Amazing. And this is great. I'm just having a look at the chat here. We've got Colorado, Cincinnati, Austin, graphic designers, illustrators. Oh, there we go. Awesome. Someone was born and raised in Richmond, Virginia. There we go. I love that. Maryland, illustrator. Nice. More illustrators, pattern designers, graphic design, and face painting. Love that, Catherine. Minnesota. Nice. Oklahoma, graphic designer, currently managing social media. Nice, Jazz. I love that. This is awesome. Jim, Silver Spring. Nice. Vancouver, there we go. I love it. New York City. Hey, Jason, good to see you. Amazing. This is so amazing just seeing where everyone is. We mainly work with people in the US and Canada, but sometimes we do have people join us from other parts of the world as well. You're always welcome too. We love being able to connect with all these amazing creators. I'm just like scrolling through the chat here. This is so good. We've got lots to cover today. So what I am going to do is get things underway officially. Kathleen, I'm going to pass to you first so you can do a bit of an introduction to get us underway.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Kathleen. I'm an independent illustrator and graphic designer currently based in Portland, Oregon. And I was working as a designer and an art director in advertising agencies, and I met Logan kind of through a call like this during the pandemic when I was kind of considering making freelance a bigger part of my life. And I really appreciated Logan's experience with creatives and the industry and his outlook and approach on kind of business as a whole. And since then, I've worked with clients like Disney, Wrangler, and Girl Scouts, and built up from making like a few $100s here and there to making consistent five-figure months for almost 5 years now, which is crazy. So glad to be here and excited to talk about this topic.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kathleen. Over to you, Molly.
Hi, I'm Molly. I am based in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I am a muralist and illustrator. I had a background actually in more wedding work, calligraphy that kind of morphed into hand lettering, and that's how I met Kathleen, was at a hand lettering conference. And then Kathleen introduced me to Logan, which was awesome. So I've been doing murals and working full-time freelance for 7 years now, and had the pleasure of working with the Flammable program to help me just get really skyrocket my goals, my revenue goals, my client goals, the work-life balance goals I had. And I actually even was able to build things up to the point that I was able to like safely and comfortably take maternity leave, which I'm just coming off of, which is something that like 3 years ago I could not have imagined doing, being a full-time freelancer. So anyway, that's been a very exciting season of life to be in, and I have felt like so confident and capable, and even a little bit excited to get back to work because of a lot of the things that I learned with Flammable. So I'll go ahead and introduce you guys to Logan as well. So Logan is kind of the Flammable OG. He is the founder of Flammable Entrepreneur. He has a background of a master's degree in entrepreneurship. He ran his own creative business for 11 years. When he was running that business, that's kind of where he started to notice that a lot of creatives struggle to bridge the gap between creative skill set and like the business side of things. So that was sort of the start of his pursuit into coaching fellow creatives. And since then, he's worked with hundreds of people from all over the world, myself and Kathleen included, obviously. And like I said, working with Flammable, I just gained a lot of practical knowledge that's allowed me to make my business work for me, and systems and structure that allow me to reach my goals time and time again. So with that, I'm going to let Logan go ahead and introduce us to today's topic du jour.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Molly. So great to be here and just excited to connect with everyone that's joined us live today. We love it if you can have videos on, if possible. If you're eating lunch, you don't want everyone to see you eating lunch, of course, that's fine. Also, if you've just joined us, pop in the chat where you are in the world and what you do creatively. We really love to see what's happening within the chat there as well. As Molly mentioned, yes, my background is I had my own creative business for many years. I also went and studied a master's in entrepreneurship during those years to really upgrade those skills in the business side as well. So the people we work with these days are people who are early stage, trying to get things started. Some people are trying to get moving, maybe leave a day job. Some people are further along. They're already kind of doing it, but they want to have more consistent income, often increase that revenue, maybe diversify their offerings. We also work with people who have been running their own business for like 1, 2, sometimes even 3 decades, right? So we do work with quite a range of people. Most of the clients we work with are in the US and Canada. Now, I'm going to also introduce some of my amazing team that are here with us today as well. We've got Paul and Alyssa from my team. We've also got some of the rest of the team here supporting in the background as well. Celeste's here, Zach's here as well today too, which is fantastic to have others on board here. So Paul, we'll get you to do a short introduction next.
Yeah, thanks, Logan. I'm really excited to be here today. My name is Paul Corgan. I see some familiar faces that we've seen you on these before. It's great to see again, and the new faces too. I'm based up here in Maine, where it's starting to get chilly, and I have some of my own businesses up here, like my creative, or it's not creative rather, but my Christmas tree business. But on the team, I am the creative business specialist, and I love to chat and connect with people about their businesses and help build their dreams. So really excited to be here and excited to learn about what they have to say.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Paul. That's fantastic. Alyssa, over to you for an intro.
Thanks, Logan. Hi, everyone. So great to see all of you, and thank you for being here. My name is Alyssa Harmon, and I am the program manager and one of the business point coaches here on the team at Flammable Entrepreneur. So I work very closely with Logan and the rest of the team. I am based in Tampa, Florida, so a little warmer compared to up in Maine, but I've had the pleasure of living and working in various parts of the United States. My background is in higher education. I have a master's in higher education as well as a doctor of education in educational leadership. So I specialize in working with adult learners and truly value building strong relationships with our clients. So really, really awesome seeing all of you today, and thank you for joining us.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Alyssa. Awesome. So as part of what we're going to do today, we are going to be giving away some free calls with my team, with Paul, Alyssa, also Nadine and Zach. These are some free creative business coaching calls. We will be sharing what that looks like right at the end of this workshop. So make sure you stick around for that. We'll be literally dropping in a link so you can just get a call booked in within the next week or two. So definitely keep an ear out for that. If you can have video on, as I said, we'd love to be able to interact with you. I want to say firstly, well done for showing up. Right? Because the truth is the difference between people who are successful as visual creative business owners and the people that are not successful is that the successful ones show up and take action. Part of that is also showing up for growing, learning, right? Learning is an important part of growing a business, no matter what stage that you are in, right? So showing up here to learn is an amazing thing to do because we're all busy. Right? Everyone has busy lives. People have family commitments, business commitments, life commitments, right? Job commitments, contract commitments. We get it, right? So well done for making time, showing up today for this awesome webinar. Now, today is going to be also about taking action. So I do want to make sure that you write down some notes. You've got a notepad down, you've got a document open. We're going to run through a lot of amazing stuff here today. A big part of our coaching programs is also that too, right? We need to get beyond just ideas and concepts and thinking about things and actually get to taking action and moving things forward. It is so, so important, right? So part of taking action we're going to have some fun with today is we love having a really engaged chat. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to give someone here $100 cash for the person who is the most engaged today during this live workshop. We do this just to bring a bit of fun to the workshop, get everyone even more engaged and leaning in. Video has to be on, using the chat. Feel free to drop questions or things in the chat or observations or learning outcomes, things like that. We love it. Yes, it can be hard to keep up with what's going on, but we will do our best. And Celeste from the team will do her very best to pick who is the most interactive as well. So definitely there we go. Everyone always gets that memo of, hey, let's have an interactive chat. So let's have some fun with that today as well. Awesome. So If you have just arrived, you are at the right place. We're going to be talking all about shifting from graphic design to more illustration. This is today's workshop. We've got the team here, Alyssa and Paul. We've also got Kathleen and Molly, two of our clients that we've worked with in the past. And we're going to be diving into some really important things here. Now, this is such a fascinating subject, shifting from graphic design to illustration. A big thing that we see is that people want to start or grow their own business, and they want to do the sort of work that they want, right? Makes sense, right? You're not building a day job, you're building your dream business. And that means you want to be excited about the work that you do and the type of clients that you work with, right? That's really the dream, to be a full-time creative doing what you love. Something really common that we see is that often people may start off in the world of, say, graphic design. Maybe they go and study, they train up, they get a day job, and then they find they're sort of doing the work that they're not really excited about, right? Their boss is putting projects on their desk where they're like, I don't think this is what I actually trained up for, and this is actually not what I'm excited about, right? Maybe it's formatting business plans, and you're like, hey, I have all these creative desires, skills, abilities, and passions, and I want to bring that forth. So often what we do see is that people want to get more into the world of illustration. We also work with people who are graphic designers, they're full-time in their business already, and they want to transition to more illustrative type work because it is, a bit more interesting, a bit more creative for them, right? So this is a really interesting journey, and it's so great we've got both Molly and Kathleen here today for this as well, because they're going to reflect on that journey too. They've been through it in different ways and really transitioned what they've done over the years as well, right? So ultimately, this is really about the opportunities that exist out there in illustration. Is there opportunities in graphic design? Yes, absolutely. But we're going to really talk about the opportunities more on the illustration side and shifting to more that area. We are in a world of opportunity right now, right? Opportunity, yes, within design, graphic design, but also in illustration. However, we've got to be aware that can be a bit of a complex transition to make, to shift from more of a graphic design area to more of an illustrative area. So we're going to be talking a lot about this today, sharing tips and ideas, marketing strategies along the way. If you're someone that's like, I'm a graphic designer in my day job, I want to make the leap and restart my own business, you're in the right place. Or if you're someone that's like, hey, I'm doing a bunch of graphic design work, I want to do more illustration within my business. Amazing, you're at the right place. Even if you're an illustrator already, great, this is fantastic place for you to be, to learn more about what you can lean into to get more opportunities as well. So first thing we're going to talk about, bread and butter, right? Bread and butter is something that I know Kathleen and Molly remember learning a ton about this during the program. It's so essential that you have something in your business that is the bread and butter. What I mean by that is something that you can do again and again and again, something regular, something that people need, something people are willing to pay for, something people are willing to pay good amounts for. It's really important. What some people do is they try and offer all sorts of things. It can be quite overwhelming. They don't really have one or two things that are really solid, that they are really focused on. So this is something we need to be aware of, is that it may initially not be your perfect ideal offering, right? You may diversify over time. So for example, if you're starting out in business and you're getting started, you may be like, okay, I'm just going to start out with what I know, right? What you know, if you're a graphic designer, you might be like, hey, I know graphic design, right? So rather than going, oh, I'd love to be doing more illustrative type work, you might actually start doing more of the graphic design type work, but rather than for your day job, you start doing it for other people through your own business as a freelancer, right? Because often it's going to be much easier to do the stuff that you already know first to get you your freedom, right? This is something that, Kathleen very much went through this journey, right? Big part of that was going, hey, like, I remember saying to you, Kathleen, is like, yeah, you can get more into the creative, illustrative type work, but it might take a bit longer for you to leave the day job because you have less experience there, right? So Kathleen instead leaned more into more of the graphic design work. Now, we all get it, right? If you're a graphic designer already in a day job, you're probably like, that's the last thing I want to do when I get home or stop working for the day, right? But the truth is, what we want to do is buy you time, is get you out of your day job. And that might mean doing the work that you already are more familiar with. All right, so that's something we need to be aware of. Look, if you're already in business and you're doing mostly graphic design work and you're wanting to shift more to illustrative type work, well, we've got to be careful, right? Don't just drop it and be like, no more graphic design type work, only illustration work, right? Doing that kind of cold turkey approach can be quite dangerous because there's a new area here, there's new clientele to build up, new approaches, you're growing, you're learning, right? And in the meantime, we've got to make sure that you're still bringing in income. So often it's a transition, right? And once again, Kathleen, you'll remember the conversations we have. Okay, well, 10%, 80%, moving, transitioning the type of offerings that you have between them as well. This is so, so important. The beautiful thing is that once you have your own business, you get to actually make these decisions and target the sort of clients and work that you want to do, right? It is so, so important. You get to choose, you get to say yes and you get to say no. One of the challenges that a lot of people have with their day jobs, if you do have a day job right now, is you just have to kind of do what's put in front of you. Right, here you go, there's this work, you have to do it. You're like, well, some of it you're like, yeah, this is an awesome project. Some of it will be like, this is not what I want to be doing, right? The beautiful thing about your own business, you get to decide. And yes, there's decisions to make in terms of financial decisions. Do I need to bring this in? But ultimately, we want you to be able to say no. Right? We want you to be able to say no to the opportunities that don't align with what you want. Maybe they're opportunities that are less interesting, less creative, less well paid, right? That is one of the big aims as you grow your business as well. There's a ton of stuff around this. I know you've been through your own transitions and journey around this as well, Molly. So I'd love to kind of hear some of your thoughts around this in terms of, the bread and butter and that kind of transitional part from your point of view as well.
Yeah, the bread and butter is such a huge part of it. So I came into doing my own creative business from like the wedding industry side of things. And so I was like, when I connected with Logan, I was actually doing mostly wedding work. So in a way, it was almost what I wanted to be getting more into was murals. Like I wanted murals and illustration to be more of my bread and butter. That was the type of work I wanted. So it almost felt like even though I was working for myself full time, like my day job was my wedding work. And what I wanted to be building up was this like more illustration and murals. So I love what you said about like just being really conscientious of like taking your time to do that for sake of like building yourself up to do it in the right way. So like for me, that came in the form of I was doing a lot of graphic design for like invitation design and things like that, but that wasn't the fulfilling part of it for me. I realized what I really loved was like helping interpret people's like stories and then making that a creative visual. Like I liked being that creative translator. And so instead of just like hard stop on wedding work, what wound up really working for me was I like first of all sat down, did so much work with Logan to figure out like what do I actually want to be creating? Like what do I want to be my bread and butter? A big part of that for me was I wanted fewer clients with bigger budgets because a lot of my wedding work was like a ton of admin with a bunch of clients and smaller budgets. And for me, the bread and butter, I just needed bigger price points per project. And so the way that like we work together, one of the ways that manifested was instead of doing a hard stop on wedding work, I started saying no to just the smaller things in weddings. And I would say yes to things like custom signage, like a little bit more adjacent to some of the like hand lettering, signage, mural work I wanted to be doing signage that kind of morphed into then doing some work with like wedding shops. And I got to do a couple of like small murals with people in the wedding industry. So it was like I was able to find those kind of seeds of connection throughout it to get to that big bread and butter item that now I feel comfortable saying like, I am a muralist. I am an illustrator. Yes, I have examples of that within the wedding industry. Like that's kind of my background, but just yeah, really working to get to the like bigger price point, fewer clients, really able to like hone in on the thing I want to be doing is helping you bring your vision to life, and I can help like propose creative ways to do that.
I love it. I mean, I think part of what we want to do here today and what we're doing for everyone is just getting you all some insight into Kathleen and Molly's journeys as well, right? Because everyone has their own version of a journey and own version of success as well, right? In terms of what they're offering and what they're getting into. And I just love hearing that for everyone here as well. What we're going to do, I'm going to post in, or Celeste from my team is going to post in our Instagram, our Flammable Entrepreneur Instagram. We'd love to make sure we're connected with people in the chat. So we'll post that in there. Molly and Kathleen are going to post theirs as well. We want to make sure that we're really connected with everyone here. If we're already connected already, fantastic. That's really awesome. But there we go. Celeste just popped in the Flammable one. Molly and Kathleen will get their ones too. We want to make sure we're connecting because that is part of building community, building connection as well. The other side of that is we have an amazing number of awesome people here. So I want you all to also go and grab your Instagram links and pop them in the chat. This is a way to get you connected with us, but also with other people here and build out that creative community as well. Make sure it's the URL, HTTP, there we go, we're putting them all in. So go to a web browser, open it up, get your Instagram link and drop it in. Don't just put the @ tag, because then it is clickable, which is beautiful, because then people can go through, click it, go through, see who else is here today, see all the amazing work that people are creating. This is so cool to see. So everyone's got the memo. We have a very busy chat right there, and I was just reading through some of the chat earlier as well and seeing all the really interesting things that people are sharing, right? So people are sharing things around their transition and how challenging it can be. Someone shared around my work being mainly illustrative type work, but it's hard to find the right clients who are willing to pay the rates, right? Knowing value and standing by it is a big issue. This is something a lot of people struggle with as well, right? Pricing and communicating that value of what you do is such an important part of it. We're also not just all born with those skills, right? These are things that there are tactics, approaches, and also these mindsets, confidence, belief to work on as well. Other things being shared here in the chat. Someone shared, even though I got my bachelor's in graphic design, my colleagues told me I have the mindset of an illustrator. Oh, I love that. I think that's really interesting. That one's got a whole lot of people chatting in that thread as well, which is good. Go scroll up and see if you can find that one too. And I think the beautiful thing here is that we are in a world of opportunities. Right? Hopefully you're all seeing that. We've also got to be aware that mindset can tell us there's no opportunities out there, right? So we're going to talk more about the mindset side in a while as well, because that's a big part of that growth. But what we want to talk about next is how to actually get started in more illustrative type work, right? So those of you that are like, great, I'm kind of more on the graphic design side and like, how do I get started? Or if you're already trying to get into illustration, maybe what are you doing wrong? Or what are you missing? What is the path here? So we're going to talk more about that. Basically, when you do something new, even if it's a new type of work, style of work, it can be scary. What we often see is that shifting from more design, graphic design type work to more illustrative type work is often less complex than people think it is, right? Because often people have a baseline of incredibly creative skills that they're able to utilize and they're able to transition in terms of the type of work that they do as well. So we see this again and again. People are like, oh yeah, but I'm just starting out with illustration. I'm brand new. I don't know what I'm doing. I need to now spend like the next 2 years learning and applying and building out my portfolio. And honestly, most of the time, it's just not the thing that's getting in their way, right? What they actually need to do is learn more about the business side and also learn how to structure those offerings as well. Really, really important. Part of it is proving to someone who's maybe going to pay you that you're trustworthy. Right? Like that's part of it, building trust. How do you build trust? Well, you've got to put examples of your work out there. So yes, you need to create some examples, create some illustrations, put it out there, put it on your website, put it on your Instagram, right? Do mock-ups, do personal projects. You can do all of these things. People often think, okay, so I need like 50 examples. It's like, no, like to prove to someone that you can do some work, you might need to just do 1-3 examples on your portfolio before you can get that sort of work as well. Really, really important. Part of this here is also getting really clear on what, right? What are you going to be offering? Right? Paul, myself, Alyssa, and the team, we have lots of conversations around this stuff in terms of the offerings. And it's really interesting because we're talking about illustration. What is illustration? What is graphic design? There's a big blurred line and people have different definitions. Really interesting, right? So defining, if you want to get more into illustration, well, what is it you want to do? And more importantly, what is it that you're specifically selling? It's all really well to say, I just want to create, I want to design, I want to do art, I want to do illustration. It's like, what is it? What are people paying for? We need to get very clear on that. So it could be getting into packaging design. It could be getting into more illustrative branding. It could get book illustrations, right? Publishing. There's a whole world of opportunities within that space. Editorial, right? Lots of people get into editorial. Molly's been talking about murals as well, right? There's lots of areas within spot illustrations, within even branding. Like there's so many different areas within illustration. It's this huge area. We actually need to get more defined. Right? Yes, I can do this. I'm going to work on this. Okay, packaging design. Okay, I need to get some examples of what that could look like. There's a world of opportunity here, but we need to get clear. The other side of that is we need to get clear on who. Like who are the ideal clients? Who is the target audience? if we try and market to everyone, we end up marketing to no one. Such an important piece of it. It's a classic thing. You're a creative person. You can do anything, right? Well, the problem is that people won't identify with that, right? What they're looking for is like, can you do this thing? I'm looking for someone to do illustrations for packaging design. Okay, does this person do that? They do everything. They do anything. Oh, that's not what I'm looking for, right? It's really interesting. Even though you're a creative person, you're like, I could probably figure it out. I could probably do it. Yeah, but they're not even going to contact you, right? They're going to go to your website, maybe your Instagram. And if they can't see that you've done or you do the thing that they're looking for, they're probably not going to email you and ask you. Even if it says, I can do anything, they're probably not going to message you and say, can you do this? Right? It's just the truth of what happens here. Really, really interesting. So part of this here, as I said, is yes, you probably want some things, some examples in your portfolio and your website and Instagram, absolutely, but you probably don't need to spend the next 6 months creating lots of examples and holding yourself back. You're probably needing to, yes, get some in place, figure it out, but then you need to get onto that business side. We're going to talk more about that soon as well. Kathleen, we'd love to hear kind of some of your experiences, kind of journey around these pieces as well.
Yeah, I mean, it can be, like a difficult transition, especially mindset wise. And I think the first thing that I really had to start doing was just calling myself an illustrator and introducing myself in a business setting as an illustrator. And I think some people will be like, "Oh, I'm a designer, but I really want to like do illustration." And like that, I think having some confidence up front, and even if you just have a portfolio of a few things, just personal work, like you don't have to have had a client or anything. Just having that confidence of being like, "Yes, I'm an illustrator now. This is what I'm pursuing." Just to help you kind of shift into that mindset, away from like, I'm a graphic designer who like kind of does illustration on the side and like would love to do more. Like, just kind of stepping into that confidence to kind of help you sell yourself to others. I also think as you start to sort of move this way, having your ducks in a row on sort of the business side, there's a lot of similarities between design and illustration, but there's things to consider like learning about licensing and having a different contract because there may be some different stuff you need to think about. Asking a lot of questions to your clients up front to get an understanding of what they're needing and whether you have an understanding of the project and the kind of the process that you need to put in place. And talking to other illustrators in the field, I met a lot of really cool people through the Flammable program that I was able to kind of jump on calls with and ask questions because there are some different things to consider when you're going into illustration. And having someone kind of behind you who knows the industry and can kind of help you figure those things out as well from a business standpoint. Just researching and getting really confident in that so that when those illustration clients, after all your marketing and networking comes to fruition, you're able to just get out there with a good proposal and confident pricing and not feel like you're kind of floundering in that new space. So yeah, kind of being on this call is a great start, getting to sort of hear from others and, talk to people that have been doing it. To kind of be prepared for that. The differences between design and illustration was big.
I love this. I was just thinking as you're talking there, Kathleen, like I saw this t-shirt recently and it said fire, aim, ready, right? So we kind of have the idea of like ready, aim, fire, right? It's like once we're ready, we're going to grow our business. We're going to transition to illustration. We're going to leave our day job once we're ready. Right? Like that is something that kind of makes sense, right? We need to like prepare, we need to ready all those things there. One of the big things that we know and see is that often, what does it look like? Well, it looks like taking those steps. And I'm not saying leave your day job straight away, but what can you do? What can you start leaning into? Can you actually start connecting with potential clients? Can you start putting yourself out there? Absolutely. And then you're going to get ready because you're going to grow, you're going to learn, you're going to get feedback as well. It's a really interesting idea. And we see that a lot is like, oh, yes, I have this dream to one day do this thing, whether that's start my business, grow my business, move into this new area. And when I'm ready, I'll do that. And then 10 years goes past. Oh, I'm not quite ready yet. Well, it's like, how do you get ready for anything? You start taking action, you start growing, you start showing up, right? Just like Kathleen said, you show up in places like this. You learn from others. You surround yourselves with the right community of people. Community is such an important part of it. Obviously, that's why we get people sharing their Instagram here as well. We want to get more people connected too. It's a big part of how we support people. We actually really surround people with community within our program as well, because we want to have people surrounded with people who are in the growth mode as well. I love it. Okay, let's keep moving through this. We started kind of talking a little bit about the business side. So we're going to dig more into this. A really important part of transitioning or growing is really to make sure that you get that business side right as well. Classically, as I said earlier, people tend to think that their creative skills are not up to a good enough standard for whatever it is, the next level, the next stage to launch. We see again and again and again that it's just not the thing. It's not the thing getting in the way, the creative craft, the skills, right? The design skills, the illustration skills. Usually those things are absolutely fine, but it's the business stuff that's getting in the way, right? And when you're a creative, and whether you're self-taught or you studied, is like, that's just the area that you know, the craft, the skills there. And you're like looking at it going, it could be better. Of course, everything can always be better, right? We tend to work with people who really want to put, they're perfectionists. They want to put the best version out there, right? And they look at it and go, well, comparing to others, I feel like it could be better. It's a lifelong journey to keep improving your creative skills. Absolutely. What I'm saying is that the vast majority of the time, I'm talking like 99% of the time, it's not that, it's the business stuff. The stuff that you don't get excited about, maybe you don't care so much about, you don't know about, you haven't learned about. Right. One of my big frustrations is that a lot of creative programs out there, creative schools, right, universities, they actually don't teach you more of the business side. They're really just arming you with the creative skills, right? And they're really lacking that. I hear it again and again. It was actually the reason why I did a lot of teaching at universities, was to bring more of a practical business approach to their programs, to creative programs as well. That's why I did it for quite a number of years. It was all part-time contract work. So we're going to talk sort of more about this business side. One of the things that we ultimately see is people undervalue the business stuff. It's a creative business. One side's creative, well, there's the business side. And part of that is actually leaning into and learning those things, right? Someone mentioned earlier on pricing, right? That's a struggle. Okay. The great thing about pricing is that you can learn more about pricing approaches, pricing psychology, money mindset, right? There's a lot of things you can work on here. Yes, strategies, absolutely, and there's tactics, but also it's often mindset based. Right? We do a lot of mindset work with our clients as well, because often there's fear or resistance or self-worth, right? Oh, no, my work's not worth that. I couldn't charge that, right? There's a lot of things that can get in the way there as well. A big part of growing the business side is the marketing stuff, right? And marketing is kind of this word that I think we're all like, marketing, right? It's like, well, it's sharing, it's connecting. That's what it's really about. We need to get you in front of the right people who are excited to work with you. They do exist. They are out there. There's people that are willing to pay really good amounts for good, valuable work. There's often a lot of fear and resistance, even when we say the word marketing. Yuck, marketing, right? Now, the truth is you don't have to be a marketing expert. You also don't have to be absolutely everywhere doing everything in marketing. Right? Instead, what we need to do is get more targeted, figure specific areas out. Every client we work with, they're slightly different. Some people, they really lean into things like outreach. Others, it's more about networking, connecting. Sometimes it's partnerships, right? Sometimes people lean into, yes, social media, but we also have people that we work with that aren't very consistent in some of these areas, and that's okay. They still can build a long-term successful business, right? One of the myths out there is that you have to have, 20,000 followers, 100,000 followers on Instagram to be successful. It's just not true, right? Yes, that's one version of success. Also, there's plenty of people out there who have massive followings who aren't growing a creative business and are struggling with very similar things as well, right? So we need to understand there's lots of ways to grow a business, but marketing is very, very important, and we've got to lean into something, right? It's a huge part of how we work with people as well, is help them to figure out where to lean in. They don't need to be an expert, but often we need to upgrade those skills, get them taking action, get them actually moving forward on these things as well. Really, really important. Molly, would love to hear some of your thoughts and kind of learnings from these pieces as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I especially love what you were saying about like you can't, if you try to be everything to everyone, you're nothing to anybody. That ties into like the bread and butter thing a little bit as well, but just really the mindset of like I mean, Kathleen talked about the mindset of like naming yourself as an artist. There's also just that imposter syndrome, I think, that comes with being a solopreneur of like naming yourself as a business owner. Like that was a really, really hard thing for me to get over. And getting into that business mindset was so important for me because when I first started out, I was not treating myself like a professional. I was not treating myself like a business. People would approach me for a job and I'd be like, I'll do whatever you want. And not realizing like they're coming to me to tell them what they not necessarily tell them what they want, but interpret what they're asking for and tell like hold their hand and say, "Great, this is how we get there." And I was not doing that at the beginning. I really needed like systems in place. I needed business mindset. I needed like just little like practical business things, structures that set my business up for success to work for me and not burn out. Like I was saying, not only saying yes to too many things, but just not having like things in place to make it go smoothly every time, to not have that consistency. And that is part of being a business. And then also like the mindset of like naming myself as a business. And it's so hard to like toe that line of I am fully self-employed, so everything is personal, but also like it's business, it's not personal. Every single business has ups and downs. Every single business has trial and error. Like I had to learn how to shift and be like, let me try this thing and see if this works. And when it didn't work, be like, oh, that's a thing I learned, not, oh, I did it wrong. It's just learning. You don't know, there's economies shift, your market shifts, your clientele shifts, like quarters of the year shift. And the longer that you do these things, the more you're going to realize those patterns. And so, like Logan was saying too, it's so important to not just wait until you feel ready because you might be waiting for something that all of a sudden you feel ready, but it's ready for what was happening 6 months ago. It's not ready for what was happening now, or it's ready for what was happening with your offerings a year ago. You're not ready for what you want to be offering now. So really just getting in that mindset was really huge. And then also another like huge takeaway for me, especially when it came to like marketing and pricing appropriately and pricing for the jobs that I wanted to be getting, remembering that for me, like I am not my clientele. I do not have thousands of dollars to go spend on a creative pursuit for like hiring someone. But these corporations that I'm working with, these big companies, these big branding agencies, it is like what I am pitching to them is a drop in the bucket. And remembering that is so important. And remembering like the value that that truly has. A lot of times, what I'm creating for someone is going to keep earning them money. Like it is marketing for them that is going to be ROI over and over for them. And I'm just doing it once and I need to charge remembering that it's going to keep working for them. So just that like whole business structure, remembering like not to take it personally. I am the professional and remembering like what I am actually helping my clients with and how valuable that is.
Oh, I love this. It's just so powerful. Like we teach this stuff, but being able to also hear like this stuff in action from Molly, from Kathleen as well, is so important, right? Because they're out there, they're doing these things, they've figured things out, they've broken stuff, they've had failures, right? And from Molly just then really seeing that that's part of that growth journey as well. We're going to talk more about the mindset side. Right. So the mindset side, I've mentioned this already. It's incredibly important. I think people often undervalue it. Even the people that say, yeah, I get it. Well, actually, when we start digging, they're like, oh, wow, there is some big blocks I've got here. And it can be, as I said, money mindset or the weird beliefs people have around money and how it works, or the blocks people have around putting themselves out there or marketing or like feeling salesy, right? Like it feels salesy, scammy, right? Those things there. There's a lot of mindset stuff that can come up. A big mindset thing that we really notice is the mindset around opportunities that exist out there, right? If you've heard of it before, many of you would have abundance mindset versus scarcity mindset. Abundance mindset says, hey, there is a ton of opportunities out there right now. Right. This is true. These spaces we're talking about, visual creative spaces, these are growing areas of opportunity. Right? Growing areas of opportunity. There's also the other mindset, scarcity mindset. We're all fighting over it. It's very competitive. Everything's going down in price. You have to charge small amounts if you want to make this work. It's really interesting because people exist in both of these worlds within the same world right now. Right? We see it. Like we have calls with people we sometimes talk to who are like, the world's falling apart. There's no opportunities. Everyone's losing their jobs, losing their clients, and everything's getting taken over. right? Well, the truth is, when they believe that to be true, that's what they're seeing. We're all really good at proving what we believe, the ideas we have to be in our heads to be true, right? We look for it. If we believe, look, there's no opportunities, you can't charge these sorts of amounts. Like, what do you mean you can charge thousands of dollars for these things? That's not what I'm saying. Well, your mind will start to prove that. You'll notice. See, look, scarcity, bad headline. Someone lost their job. See, someone shared in the chat today here that they're struggling because of the economy, right? It's like the truth is that yes, that exists, but then you've got other people who are like, there's opportunities out there. Yeah, I need to figure out where to find them. Yes, I need to put myself out there. Yes, there's going to be times where the economy goes up and down, but there's still plenty of opportunities. Even in the middle of recessions, there's opportunities. Yes, recessions means there's less spending. There's still massive amounts, trillions of dollars being spent during that time period as well. The people that get to grow their business are the people that have worked on abundance mindset. Even if you feel like you're in scarcity mindset right now, be aware of that. Start surrounding yourself with people that are in abundance mindset. Start working on building belief, building confidence. Incredibly important things. So important. So absolutely love that. It's a really good conversation to really have. A big part of the journey is going to be working on this stuff. That's the beautiful thing here, is that this is not just something where you're someone who just has scarcity mindset or someone that has this and that's who you are. It's like everyone has the ability to grow and to learn. Right? You can work on yourself. You can work on getting more of an abundance mindset. Part of that's awareness and being aware, and also noticing that the truth is that most people in the world live in a scarcity mindset society. Right? That's just the truth of it, right? And that's possibly your best friend or your family or your partner or people around you, right? They're probably going to tend to lean into more of that scarcity mindset than the abundance mindset. So we've got to be aware of that as well, is that it's very much making sure that yes, okay, even if we do have close family, well, who are the people that we can also surround ourselves with more of that abundance mindset as well? This is powerful stuff. Kathleen, we'd love to hear kind of some of your perspectives on this side as well.
Yeah, I mean, the opportunities really are just, I think we sort of, especially when we're maybe like kind of tunnel visioning with the creative community, we think, oh, there's just so many designers and oh, there's not enough room for me. But like, we really are like a small group of people with a specialized skill as creatives. And there's plenty of work to go around. And some of the things that I, like to think about is kind of starting with what and who like thinking the great thing about design is that it's so kind of tangential to illustration and a lot of the industries cross over. So like never counting out someone who was like a design coworker or, someone you worked with on a design project as like, someone who might not be an opportunity. Every single person that's in your network could be a chance to either connect you with someone or potentially hire you to do the same, like to do illustration. I've done so many illustrations projects for design clients, and I've even like designed things incorporating like illustrations they also paid me for. So I think really not discounting sort of your experience in your community, and sort of seeing every sort of everything in your past experience as like an opportunity to also move you forward. That was kind of really big when I was starting out since I was in advertising. And I think, when we were first talking in some of my early coaching calls, it was just like, I don't know what I want to do as an illustrator. And it's like, well, can we start from where, you already know? So that was huge. Also, I love to keep an eye on what other artists are doing. I have a whole save folder of like art directors and like magazines and things. Because keeping an eye on what companies are out there already working with other illustrators really just keeps me, motivated and being like, so many people are getting work, so many companies are working with illustrators, so many people are putting out amazing work, and that just keeps me motivated to, kind of continue to put myself out there, and also to keep an eye on like where people are spending money now, where people might be. It's good to keep on those like Logan said, like there's always going to be people spending money. It might just kind of change where that is at the moment, or what part of your audience is maybe the most uh, hot right now or whatever. So kind of keeping an eye on what other illustrators are doing, what industries are looking to hire illustrators and just sort of, keeping track. I think it can be, if you're isolating yourself in your house, just making work, it can feel like nobody needs me. But, got to keep an eye on what's out there and because there's so many opportunities and so much work to go around. So.
I love it. I love it. Once again, hearing the real life stuff of these things here as well. And I think, so I'm just going to reference something in the chat here. I was just reading from Angela. I agree with connecting with people with the same creative mindset as you. I've learned the hard way that when you don't, people who are not in the creative mindset always tell you to go and get a real job. Now, I have like 5 separate pieces I could talk about, but we don't have time right now around this. Something that I want everyone to be really, really aware of here is that jobs are also not that stable. And in my world, I actually argue that they're less stable than having your own business that you can control and you can do things to grow. Right? That's the truth of it. And we've seen it, right? We've spoken to people who have come to us being like, I've just lost my day job out of nowhere. Now I really want to build my creative business. Right. And we actually love working with people of lots of different stages and levels and different situations. Right. It's hard when someone's just lost their day job to work with them because they're in scarcity mindset. They make short-term decisions. They're undercharging. And yes, we may still work with them. We actually like working with people who actually have a day job right now that we can build the business alongside to that. Right? It's a really, really amazing part of that. Yes, it's hard to balance building a business and having a day job, right? Kathleen knows from her experience as well, but it's the best time to do it, right? Because the truth is that day jobs aren't actually that stable. And I'll say anymore, I think they've actually become less and less stable over time. But the truth is, when you have your own business, there's always things that you can do to grow it. You can learn, you can pivot, you can try new things, you can take action on the marketing side, right? Whereas if your boss comes to you and says, sorry, no job, see you later, end of day tomorrow, there's not actually a lot you can do about that. You go get another job, right? So it's a really interesting thing that we see is that, yes, there's this idea of like, oh, business is risky. Well, actually having day jobs can be incredibly risky as well because you don't have a lot of control over it as well. We've even seen people who have what we would call stable government jobs. Well, they're not actually stable at times either. So just being really aware of that too. We have covered a ton of stuff today, right? Now, obviously, having some clarity, some learnings around all of these different things, absolutely. We've covered a ton. It's really important. I know people have been taking notes and putting things in the chat as well. The truth is that often people need to dig a lot deeper, right? They need to figure out those other business elements, like really get into figuring out the sales approach, the strategies, and yes, even getting more clarity around those offerings. The truth is that today's workshop has really just touched the tip of the iceberg of what is really required to build a long-term successful business. So as part of this call today, what we are doing is we're giving away freebie coaching calls with my team, Paul, Alyssa. We've also got Zach and Nadine here from my team as well. We're going to be giving calls away with all of them. So if you're on here, we would love to get you on that. I've got some caveats I'm going to share, but I am going to literally drop in the link to share that. We've only got limited spots. We'll put as many as we can on. These are totally free calls. Few caveats. First one, hey, we want you to be someone that is ready to take action, right? You're not someone who's like, oh, I just want to hear some ideas and maybe I'll do it one day. It's like, we want you to be someone who's like, I want to get some ideas, some feedback so that I can actually maybe leave my day job in the next 12 months, or I can take action to grow this business, or I can pivot finally into more illustrative type work, right? We want you to be an action taker. Please don't book this call if you're not in that space at the moment. We want you to be ready to implement. Second thing is we want you to be open, get vulnerable, open to share where you're at, share the dreams, share the ideas, right? Share the challenges, right? Paul, Alyssa, Zach, Nadine, they'll all ask you questions and really help you to dig these things out. This call is really designed as a great follow-up, free follow-up for this workshop to help you to really digest everything that you've learned and also get a bit more clarity in terms of the next steps to take as well. Third thing, kind of an obvious one, but we want you to be committed. If you're going to take up time on their calendar, please make sure you show up, make sure you're at a desk, you're stable, you've got good Wi-Fi, you've allowed plenty of time, you're taking notes, you're really there for them. Their time is incredibly valuable. They're really good at what they do. We just want to make sure we're respectful of their time as well. We also will be sending through some pre-call information for you to fill in. It only takes a few minutes, so keep an eye out for an email from Celeste from my team and make sure that's done. If everyone's in agreement with those caveats I have, can you just pop in the chat, yes, or okay, or fun emoji, yes, agreement, sounds good. Oh, definitely. Yes, yes. Lots of exclamation mark. Oh, there we go. The chat is exploding again as per usual. Everyone still has remembered that we're doing the $100 giveaway, it looks like too. So look, very, very fun. What I'm going to do, I'm going to drop that in the chat. I'm just going to give it a moment and then I'll drop that link in. Do grab it as soon as possible because we only have limited spots. Try and get one as soon as possible. We have times. We have a few for tomorrow. We have some for next week and then we have some for the week after. So because there's a lot happening in the chat, I probably will drop it in a couple of times. But there we go. That it is there. So click that link, go book it in now. Don't wait for this because it will probably fill up pretty quickly. There it goes there. If you do want to learn more about coaching and what that looks like and go on a journey like Molly and Kathleen have been on, feel free to let my team know that as well. Mention to Paul, Alyssa, Zach, Nadine, just say, hey, also I'm curious to hear more about what that could look like. And they'll basically take you through the next steps on that. But the call is really about getting you some clarity, digesting things from today as well. Fantastic. Okay, so from here, we have got a little bit of time. So we did get sent in a few questions, which we would like to go through. First question, Paul, I'm actually going to get you to answer this one here. So I'll fire that over to you. Where are you seeing the biggest opportunities lying right now in design? Where are the biggest opportunities sitting in design and illustration at the moment?
A great question. I think it does vary a bit, right, based on where you're at and your offerings and all that stuff, of course. I really think there's a lot of opportunity in murals. We hear that quite a bit. There's so many spaces that could be beautiful murals. So getting out there and doing that. I think it's really about figuring out the intersection of what you like to do, what aspects of your creative abilities you really enjoy, and then what the highest marketability is in there. So as we talked about, packaging design, I think is really cool. And that's really a great area that is necessary for business. And so there's a market for it and return on investment. But it can also be fun and creative for illustrators. So I think that kind of stuff is what to lean into. And also, we just want to make sure it's at the higher price points. We always base our minimum pricing at $300. So make sure whatever you're focusing in on with your business is over that at least.
Amazing. So powerful. I think, this is really important. Like we get to see, myself and my team get to see the things that are working and the things that are not working. Right. So what Paul shared there is one big, amazing gem is that you actually have to have these higher ticket type options for long-term success. And yes, we like to move away from hourly where possible, but even if it's one project, a bunch of hours, yes, that can be higher ticket above $300 as well. Someone even shared in the chat here around like, is this something that you guys work with people on? Actually, to be honest, it's the biggest thing we work with people on is actually charging higher amounts. We actually have people that do things like the stickers, the prints, even licensing, not so much print on demand. We kind of discourage that now because it's so competitive, really hard to make work. But we have people that sell things for under $300. But what we're saying is that it's not the thing that's growing long-term or where most of those opportunities sit. If you want to leave your day job, if you want to grow a business that's earning 10, 15K per month or even more, well, you're not going to get there by selling $3 stickers. That's just the truth, right? If you're excited about that, you want to do that on the side, of course, yeah, that's a fun creative area, but we need to have those bigger, chunkier items as well. This next question here, Alyssa, I'm going to get you to answer this one here. It's a very interesting one. It's kind of talking more about that marketing side, which I know we've talked a little bit about. What are the best ways to market as an illustrator? What are the best ways to market yourself as an illustrator these days?
Great question. Yeah, happy to help. So, as you would expect, there's lots of marketing opportunities out there. So, first thing I want to say is you do not need to pursue all of them. Okay, but it is really valuable to have a focus. So I'll provide some examples of, some of the best practices, best ways to market yourself as an illustrator. First thing, social media. I know a lot of people might have a love-hate relationship with Instagram, LinkedIn, but social media is a really fantastic way to get yourself out there. You don't necessarily need tens of thousands of followers in order for your social media to be an asset to your business. Okay, so keep that in mind. Networking. Molly and Kathleen talked about how they met at a conference, right? So attending conferences, even like coffee chats in your local community, in-person networking is extremely valuable. There's a lot of power in introducing yourself, shaking someone's hand, and handing someone a business card, right? Cold outreach, specifically email outreach, even though it might feel uncomfortable or like you're being annoying, this is a provenly effective strategy. Okay. So, really good marketing strategy is hitting send on that email, cold email specifically. Other examples, partnerships. So, working with an agent, with an agency, referrals, maybe other creatives, people that you meet today, other creatives sending you work if it's out of your wheelhouse. That's a really great example. And lastly, having a website, having an up-to-date website with a clear description of your services, examples of mock-ups and previous work, and a way for people to contact you. So, is there a best strategy? Not necessarily, but focus on taking that imperfect action and focusing in on some of those areas that I mentioned.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Alyssa. And I've just checked. We've had lots of people booking calls, which is awesome. If you did want to still grab one of those calls, I would love every single person here to grab a call that we can fit on our calendars that's happy with those caveats we shared, right? Because this is a great opportunity to just dig in a bit more, learn a bit more, and really condense things from what you've learned today. I'm going to drop it in the chat again because I know that chat is moving today. Also, we're going to be doing the $100 giveaway very, very soon as well. I do want to just direct a question. I'll just direct this one to you, Kathleen, there. I think this is really interesting. What's the hardest part about shifting from being more focused on graphic design to more illustrative type work? We're kind of curious to hear your thoughts around that one.
That's a really good question. I think the hardest thing for me has really been, especially if you're an established designer and you're someone who has been in that space for a long time, very like trusted, and you've built this great network. I think shifting your perception within like your community, and that can be really difficult when people see you as a great designer, especially if you're already successful with it. That can be really difficult, and I think that's where you can kind of get comfortable in this world where you're like getting regular referrals. Like, I haven't done outreach for design since like my second year of business, so it's very easy to just be like, oh well, this is really nice, and not put the time into kind of rebranding yourself, keeping your website up to date, like Alyssa said, and putting your stuff out there on social media. And I think that's been kind of most difficult, is just to get people to see me as an illustrator first, especially when but I think that's where continuously marketing yourself as an illustrator, having that confidence to really step into it and call yourself all the time as an illustrator, posting your work online. I saw a lot of comments of people being like, I'm just afraid. It's like that's how you kind of do that shift. And I've been able to really get people to see me as an illustrator now. But it definitely took time, and I think that transition can be slow, but it's totally fine. Like, there's no rush when you're building like a sustainable business. So that can be difficult and sometimes even a little bit disheartening for people, but you can get there. And if you just keep up with sort of those strategies and you really keep putting yourself into it, it works.
So powerful. I love it. And I think part of this here, big message we've talked about today is actually taking action, right? Working through the fears and the mindsets, yes, by taking action, right? By making those first steps, by getting moving and going, you know what? Like, I actually want to do these things. You have beautiful dreams and ideas, skills and abilities and experiences. We need to really get them moving as well, right? So really, really important. Paul, Alyssa, Zach, and Nadine from the team, if you do have a call with one of them, they'll be able to help you really point you in the right direction around these things as well. And as I said, look, if you are curious about learning how we can support you through actual coaching, fantastic. Absolutely mention that to them too. They'll be able to take you through what those next steps look like as well. We are going to be wrapping up very, very soon. We have had a few other people joined us in the last few minutes. We are coming towards the end of the workshop, but we'll make sure we do get that recording out to you if you've just joined us. I know some people were busy until the end. We have done the $100 giveaway. It is to John Smith, who is the most interactive. I'll pop it in the chat there as well. Please send us a DM to Flame Entrepreneur John Smith just to say, hey, skim that across to me. Please include your email and we'll get that across to you so that you can do that. You were definitely the most interactive, but I will say, I think lots of people were very interactive today as well. So honestly, it's fun that we do that $100 thing, but the aim is actually just to help people actually be interactive, to lean in, to get the most from this within that as well. So I absolutely love that. What I want everyone here to do now as we start to wrap up is I want you to put in the chat a takeaway from today. What have you learned, or what's been interesting? What's been helpful? What's been surprising, right? I just want people to pop in takeaways. This will really help to condense the takeaways for yourself, but also for other people here as well. Really, I want you to see, the different things that we've covered, all the amazing things we've talked about. There's so many fascinating pieces to this journey. And yes, we've got to align that mindset side. We've got to align the business side. Yes, we've got to make sure the creative types of offerings are aligned as well. Yes, there's a lot to the journey, but we are in a world of opportunity here. We love seeing people grow their own dream creative businesses. This is a beautiful space to work in as well. I love that. Lots of good stuff here in the chat. I'm just reading through. So expand on what I already do, focus on one thing. I need a deeper network of creatives. Yes, that's a big part of it, Jim. Absolutely. Work on that abundance and focus there, Susan. Nice. Focus on clarifying specific offerings, abundance mindset, take action. Any action is better than staying stagnant in fear. Oh, mic drop right there. I love that one. Connect with people in my local community. Nice. Nikki, I need to take action. Nice. It's the business, not the art. Ellie, absolutely. It's definitely a mindset problem overall, and getting rid of that imposter syndrome, right? Oh, I love it. There's so many good things being shared in the chat here as well. There is a huge amount here. Fire, aim, ready. I think we all need to get t-shirts printed. If anyone wants to do a cool illustration and get them printed, there we go. That's a fun t-shirt for that. I'm not alone. Someone shared that. So important, right? Other people have similar dreams, yes, but similar struggles, similar challenges, right? People often feel like, oh, I guess it's just me that questions my work or has these mindset blocks or struggles with pricing. No, it's very, very common issues that people have as well. I love it. Love all the stuff being shared here in the chat as well. Just as we wrap up, I am going to post in the chat that link one more time. If you have not grabbed a time yet, there is a handful of times they're still available. Might see if I can open up a couple more times if you couldn't find a time that worked for you, or if it didn't work first time, someone might have grabbed the spot you were trying for. Have another go as well. Myself, Paul, Lissa, we're going to stick around just for a few minutes in the chat as well. Turn our video off just to wrap up. But Molly, Kathleen, thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate you coming along here as well. We're going to wrap up there for today, everyone. It's been super lovely having everyone here. Appreciate all the kind things being shared in the chat. And once again, make sure you're connected with us all on Instagram too. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care. Ciao. Okay, what an awesome workshop. That was so fantastic to see how engaged everyone was as well. I know if you watched the recording, you couldn't see the chat, but it was a very full chat and conversation happening there. Look, if you have watched this video and you weren't able to be there live, go and book one of those calls as well. Those free calls are for you as well. We only have limited spots, so they'll only be available for the next day or two, but do go and book that in so that you can actually get one of those free coaching calls as well. As I said, main caveats, just making sure, you're wanting to really shift things, grow, learn, you're willing to be a bit vulnerable, share where you're at, and also you're willing to show up on time and make sure that you do the pre-call email form as well, or the pre-call form too, and get that all filled in. So we'd love to get you in there as well. If there's still a few spots left, go in, nab one, and look forward to hearing how that goes as well. Rock on.